Hey, beautiful people of the internet, how are you guys doing today? Hopefully great, and welcome to the top 5 must-have ranged weapons from the Prime Resurgence event. Now in today's video we're going to be talking about what are the 5 powerful ranged weapons you guys can get. These can be ranging from your primary and your secondary. But before I continue with the video, go and take a look at our merch store. Of course, we'll be doing some shoutouts to those who go and buy some merch, and also don't forget to spot and click the subscribe button for more Warframe videos. Without further ado, let's get this list video on the road, shall we? So starting off, our number 1 spot is we have the Sarcas Prime, and the Sarcas isn't exactly your regular primed assault rifle. It is the assault rifle that was able to give us the current damage system we have, and I'm also referring to our melee, our secondary weapons included. And what made the Sarcas Prime so special is because back then it was the first weapon to introduce red crits to us. So if you guys didn't know, red crits back then were completely different from the red crits that we have now. And the way that red crits used to work is, back then all you had to do was surpass 100% critical chance and your weapon will be able to do a few critical chance or a few red crits proccing. So let's say that your weapon has 150% critical chance. Back then that means that you have a 50% chance of doing a red crit on impact. Whether that's the body, whether that's the head, the point is make sure that your critical chance was above 100%. To many veteran players, myself included, the Sarcas Prime was the first weapon out there that taught us how to mod our weapons, what Forma was and how to use it and how to build most of our weapons. Taking up our number 2 spot is the Tigris Prime, and these are your dual wielded primed pistols that were released with Mesa Prime access. And typically a weapon in this particular category would have high critical chance and one favored physical damage type, and in order to compensate for the high critical chance, what would happen is that the stage chance would be intentionally lowered to quote unquote balance out the weapon. However, on the Tigris Prime, the exact opposite is implied. So what happens is that the Tigris has a 32% critical chance, has a 32% stage chance and with about an 18% critical chance and many deals in slash damage. It has a 1.4 seconds reload speed and you have 40 rounds in each magazine, or you have 40 rounds in the total magazine. In other words, each pistol has 20 bullets in a single mag. Add both of those up, you'll have 40. Now typically you'll probably go and mod for pure status, however the exact opposite is implied here. You'd have to go and mod this for both critical chance and status. That way if you guys do go up against a armored unit, you'll be able to take them out with no problems. And like I said, if you guys want to take out armored units, go and apply a lot of slash procs onto them and watch them bleed to death. Now one thing I don't like about this weapon, and it's got nothing to do with the way it performs but more of the way it looks. If you guys look closely, you should see there's a bit of a bayonet attachment, and the unfortunate thing is that the bayonet is not a attackable weapon. It's actually a purely cosmetic thing. And think about it like this: imagine having bayonets in Warframe where you'd use the primary weapon's fire to proc a ton of elemental damage onto the unit, and then you'll be able to finish them off with your bayonet with a condition overload build. I don't know about you guys, but that'd be absolutely phenomenal. Coming in our number 3 spot is the Sarcas Prime, and I'm pretty confident that not a lot of people are actually a huge fan of burst weapons, whether it's your primary or your secondary, and I disagree with you guys. I think a 3-round burst is actually some of the best weapons in the game, whether it's for PvP or PvE. Now the Sarcas Prime is actually, I feel, a lot more powerful than the Tigris Prime, just because it has both high critical chance and high status. The one downside to Sarcas Prime is the fact that it mainly favors in impact damage. And if you guys didn't know, impact damage is the weakest physical damage type in the entire game. And the reload speed isn't exactly the best. It's actually got a moderate reload time to get. And the Prime access that was released with the Sarcas Prime is Ember Prime. So definitely worth getting. I'll definitely turn around and tell you guys that don't worry about the impact damage so much. The fact that you'll be able to deal critical elemental damage to a target is a huge game changer for me. Like imagine dealing critical corrosive damage against the majority of the Grenier. Moving on to our number 4 spot is the Vectus Prime, and this particular rifle was released with Ash Prime access. And if you guys would like to have a healthy alternative to the Rubico Prime, you can't go wrong with the Vectus. Now the Vectus is actually a pretty decent sniper rifle. It shoots fast, it reloads fast. The one downside to it is that it only has a magazine size of 2 rounds. But like I said previously, it has a very fast reload speed, so you won't have to worry about, you know, taking 30 years to put, you know, to reload your chamber. Now one thing I do want to say as a huge downside to this weapon is that if you guys would like to have the most amount of damage squeezed about it, you need to go and get yourself a very rare mod called Prime Chamber. And the way it works is simple. The very last round in your magazine will deal 200% multiplicative damage. I'm not too sure what the exact figure around this, but I think it's around 150, 200, somewhere around there. Now obviously to most weapons that is absolutely useless, because, you know, most weapons have around 5 to 10 bullets in a single chamber, and obviously don't use it on machine guns because, you know, what's the last round ever going to do to you? In fact, you'll never ever use that last round. Now in order to make this particular mod work, you need to go and add a mod which basically takes away from your magazine size or intentionally makes it smaller and gives you another bonus. I can't remember what the name of the mod is off the top of my head, but I do know it is a corrupted mod. So you go and add this mod, use it with combination Prime Chamber, and you'll be dealing a lot of damage. And finally, moving on to our number 5 spot, we have the Tigris Prime. This is a double barrel shotgun that was released with Necros Prime access. For a very long time, the Tigris Prime used to be the most powerful shotgun in the entire game until the Extrages was released. You could say arguably that this is the second most powerful shotgun in the entire game behind the Extrages. Now, one thing I do want to say is that there's actually 2 variants of the Tigris that you guys can use. There's a Syndicate version called the Sanctuary Tigris, and then there's the Tigris Prime. And both of these shotgun variants are actually neck and neck. It's up to you what you prefer. So obviously the Tigris Prime deals a lot more damage than its Syndicate counterpart. However, the Syndicate counterpart does deal or does have a much faster reload. Now remember, reload can make and break this particular weapon, just because once again 2 shots and you have to reload again. So up to you guys. Do you guys want more DPS with a slower reload, or do you guys want less DPS with a faster reload? Now one thing I do want to mention is that the Tigris Prime has a 30% stage chance, where the Sanctuary Tigris has a 25%. Once again, DPS over speed, pick your poison. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's all for today's video. If you guys have liked the video or it's helped you in any way or form, remember to leave a like and don't forget to spot and click the subscribe button for more Warframe videos. I'm gonna make like a banana and split.